Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Robyn and this video is about how to get better at dancing. So if you're new here, welcome. I make videos about dancing and especially in heels. And so in this video, I'm going to share my tips to get better at dancing. So I've added the timestamps down below so you can skip to any section that you prefer. First things first. So when we talk about how to get better at dancing, we need to establish what is good. And I think these things apply to heels dancing, but you can also put it into other contexts. You apply to singing or other dance styles or working out. Being good at something is subjective, so first we need to decide what we're actually trying to accomplish with the practice and training. So that leads to my first tip, which is setting goals for yourself. I like to use SMART goals for myself. I'm just going to read out what the SMART stands for. So SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, meaning that, so we need to be specific. The point is that we need to know what we're working towards. Measurable, so you need to be able to measure the thing that you are working towards. Achievable, so we need to be realistic. What can we actually achieve? That is relatable to relevance and time-bound. Something that is achievable and we think we can get there, it has to be relevant, it has to be now, and it has to make sense for you to be now, and time-bound. So you need to set a period of time that you need to actually achieve the things in. So maybe you have this abstract thing that you want to accomplish, which is to become good at dancing, and your why is because you want to get work as a heels performer, dancer, whatnot. And in order to get there, we actually need to look at the bigger picture, see the goal in the distance, but we need to notice what's in front of it. So we need to section out the actual goal into smaller parts, and this is where the SMART goals come into play. So for instance, I want to get work as a dancer. Okay, and you can set 5 goals for yourself, 5 things that you are working towards. Maybe I decide that, oh, okay, if I want to be a good technical dancer, I need to be able to do 2 turns on 1 leg in heels. So that is very specific, it's measurable, it's attainable. Now maybe I can do 1 turn, it's not pretty, but I can get around myself, and it is relevant because you need that skill to work as a dancer. Maybe you want to achieve that in 2 months. Okay, so now you have a SMART goal of, okay, I need to get my double pirouettes. So that was the first thing. The second is practice consistently. Okay, so now we have established our goals and we need to stick to the plan to get there. Otherwise, it's not going to happen, and you just need to be patient. Number 3, resting. Oh, resting is so important, and I'm so guilty of neglecting it because I get obsessed really easily. Like if I want to get somewhere and my brain just doesn't go off, like I'm just thinking about getting the double turn. I really like focus and like I get just like hyper focused and fixated into one thing. But you need to rest. You need to give time for your body and your mind to actually take in the information and process it, recover, especially like when you're doing something really physical. Like you need that time for your body to actually rebuild itself and take care of itself. So learning to know that, okay, now I need to push, now I actually need to relax and do nothing or do something else. So you can shift your focus into other things, and then you can go back to it after you have had your break. Number 4, quality over quantity. So yeah, especially in the start of your journey, really take time to do things properly. And if you get tired, that means that you need a break. But listen to your body is actually really smart. It will tell you what it needs. And if you just listen to those inner signals, I mean, I feel like that's also part of dance. Like the connection between your mind and body gets so strong that you will notice the signals, and that will ultimately make you a smarter, better dancer, more professional, because you are so in tune with your body, so you know what it needs and when it needs it. But that takes time, especially if you're in the start of your journey. Be patient. These are things that I'm personally working with in my own journey. So like I said, I get fixated into things and I just repeat and repeat and repeat. Forget to take the time to analyze, okay, the things that I'm doing, are they actually beneficial? This is specifically something that I noticed in singing, because that's what I also do, and I haven't been doing it as long as complex dance. It's not new, but it sort of is. So I can really see that when I'm picking up a new skill and I practice something, I repeat something, and I repeat it in a way that is not what I want to achieve. What my singing teacher keeps telling me is just like, slow down, take that section and really work that one section. So in this context, it could be dance. So like choose one movement. If you really want to get your turn, practice on, so then it's not beneficial because you're just working on the thing that you don't want rather than actually doing it with good quality and getting this thing that you want. I hope that makes sense. Moving on, consider private classes. So I think it's very beneficial to go to group classes in person. It's actually really difficult to learn at home by yourself, but you can still do that. And I think with social media, everything has become so accessible. You can take classes like from the other side of the world, for instance, to be honest. But especially if you go to a group class where they just teach you choreography and you're 50 people in the same room, the teacher is not going to see you. Or yeah, they might, but you're not going to get feedback because there's just not enough time. So I think investing into private dance classes, like you can do it like once a month, and really just having the focus and the support that the private teacher can give you boosts your practice time, because they will be able to actually tell you what you need and how you need to do it. Because sometimes it can be really difficult to recognize that by yourself. Like you just see one perspective, but when you get the other person's perspective, that can actually boost your process and your personal development. Number 6, ask questions. Do question your teachers and yourself. Having that in a dialogue or verbal dialogue, I mean, be respectful. But if you really don't understand something, like when you go to a dance class, ultimately you're paying for the teacher. Be there. Like you are the customer and the teacher is teaching you. Okay? I mean, some people might disagree and think that, oh no, like the teacher has, they have higher status and you're like down here, so it's inappropriate for you to question them. But I think when you can pinpoint the things that aren't clear to you or don't understand, I think that's actually really smart. Then you recognize the things that you are good at and the things that you need to get better at. So if there's something that you don't understand, just ask. Like it's not going to be the end of the world. As long as you're being polite and not talking over, I usually just raise my hand to show the teacher that I have a question. Also, it's such a good way for the teacher to recognize you and hear your voice and see your face. So that's usually how I build the connection with the teachers and choreographers, is just asking 1 or 2 questions during a class. I mean, they need to be questions that make sense. I don't ask silly questions because people get frustrated. But yeah, also question yourself, like, why am I doing this? Are there any other ways I could do this movement, or any other qualities, or should I always do it on the right side, or should I do it on the left side? Have an open and curious mind is actually gonna get you somewhere. Number 7, practice what you have learned. When you go to a dance class, you don't only learn when you are inside the studio. Most of the learning happens also outside of the class. You need to do that. That's your work as a student and in life. So maybe you discovered something like, oh, okay, I didn't know I can do that. Or, well, I thought I was able to do that, but I wasn't. Then you go home and you practice. That's where the magic happens. So you can just go home. If you did choreography, you can repeat the choreography, slow it down, go through every single movement with thought, especially if the class felt fast to you, to take that time to actually go through the movements and the choreography in the way that it was taught to you. You get feedback from the teacher. You take notice what they said and try to implement that into your dance style, especially if you go back to their classes, because they will remember, okay, I said this thing to that student, and if they come back and they weren't able maybe to do the thing at the first go in the class, they come back and then they actually deliver. They're going to take notice and they're going to want to work, because they know, like, okay, the greatest dancers, especially if it's about working and finding work, you don't always need to be the most technical dancer. You actually need to be a person that it is easy to work with. You're reliable, and so that when things get under pressure, you know that, okay, I'll just tell this person what they need to do. They can share their vision with you, you, and then when you come back, you know it and you can do it, and then they build trust because they know, like, okay, this person understands what I'm asking for and what I want them to do. Sometimes people make fun of me because I usually carry a notebook with me. That's also because I am neurodivergent, so for me it is rather difficult to try to keep a hold of all of the thoughts that I have had. Actually, it is so good if you go to a class and after the class you just, you know, write 2 lines of like, oh, what you did, what you learned, what was challenging, what was fun, what was inspiring. And even if you never look at the notes, it's just like going back into the process of when you were in the room and telling your body like, oh, okay, this is the thing that I need to do, or this is the thing that I do not need to do. And that is part of the learning process. So yeah, do whatever you need to actually get what you paid for to be in the class. Number 8, don't practice until you do it right. Practice until you can't do it wrong. So this is tied to the quality of the practice, which I mentioned earlier. You want to practice until you can do the thing 90% of the time. So not only until you do it right once, or like by coincidence, you need to practice it until it becomes automatic. So if you are doing, for instance, technical exercises, a tendu, so you want to brush the foot through the floor, you need to do it as many times as it takes for you to make a habit out of it. Okay, so for instance, if I go to a street dance class and I'm not wearing shoes, I point my feet automatically if I lift them off the floor. And I feel like that's like, you know, if you do hip-hop, you don't do that. You want to be relaxed. But for me, it's just like, it's such a habit, like it comes automatically. If I lift my foot off the floor, I'm gonna point. Yeah, so that's the point of doing technical exercises, drills. You want to practice the thing so you get it into your body, not for the sake of being able to do the exercise. Point is that you break the things down that you want to actually be able to do in the choreography. Number 9, transfer the knowledge you already have into other things. So I mentioned the tendu. You notice that, okay, I need to really think about turning out at this point and like get this line, and then it looks good and I've achieved the thing that I want to achieve with that. Okay, you can be smart, so you take that information that you already know in your body and you implement it into other things. Okay, so maybe it's a rambaman, it's a kick, so you know that, okay, I need to hold on to this line that I already practiced, but now I just put it into other contexts. Or you are doing the choreography and you recognize like, okay, now here's a point where I actually do a tendu. I'm going to use my technique to do that. That's smart. I like to go into popping classes. Like, I like to go into different dance classes just to learn different things. For instance, popping is such a useful skill, but you don't really learn it anywhere else except going to a popping class, and that just gives you accuracy, especially in the arms. So I think that's beneficial. Number 10, look at other people. There's just so much you can learn by looking, by watching, observing. So if you're in the dance class and you do a choreography in smaller groups, I mean, yeah, you can always mark on the side or mentally train when the other group is dancing and listen to the music before you go and do the same choreography. But whenever you can, just look at other people. Don't think about anything, or try not to. Just observe and appreciate the things that the people are doing, the things that they aren't doing. That is a really good way to learn and find new ways to do things, as well as building your own movement. If you want to be an artist, you need to have your own style and taste. So by watching other people, you're gonna go through the thought process of like, okay, I like this because of this, or I don't like this because it didn't look or feel or, you know, fit somehow into something else. So kind of ties into the questioning part of things and observing, being open, and just seeing other people. If you're on social media, follow the people that you admire, because then you're gonna get information. You can learn so much by watching other people. We only have 2 things left. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel, because that would really support me. If you're out there, you can just come and say hi into the comment section. I would love to get to know you. I see that there are some people that are coming back for the videos, but yeah, 2 things left. 11, get into the front line. I mean, be respectful, do give space to the other people, but for your own sake, try to go into the front line. Don't be in the back where it's comfortable and you feel like you're hiding. I mean, yes, you have a responsibility. If you go to the front, that means that you're working hard and you know what you're doing. I mean, you don't always need to know what you're doing, but you go to the front and that is just the best place to learn, because you get the pressure from the other people behind you and you need to deliver. You have the best view of the teacher to actually hear and see what they're doing and what they're trying to teach you. You also see yourself in the mirror and, you know, be kind to yourself, acknowledge what you see and just work with that. Same if you go across the floor, like if you can go first, I think you should do that. It's very challenging to go first and I don't enjoy it. But sometimes I try to do that, especially if you want to go to auditions. Just, you know, being comfortable, like, okay, I'm gonna go first and taking that space. Last thing, number 12, trust yourself, trust the process. It's difficult, it really is, and you get so into your head and into your own thoughts, and it happens that you start comparing yourself into other people. And sometimes what I feel like teachers and choreographers forget that we are human, we are not machines, and you shouldn't train the way that you would be a machine. Like it's just not possible. That, like, sometimes I feel that teachers forget that, okay, you can do something fantastic on one day and then you have a bad day, and not just mentally but, like, you know, physically, like you haven't recovered, for instance, you're just not on top of your game. Happens with mobility. Like sometimes I feel really flexible and sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't even get a split. And that's life. So be confident in yourself. You also build the confidence through these tips, and especially when you become aware of what you can do, what you can't yet do, or what you like, what you dislike. That all goes into the process of getting better at the thing that you want to achieve. So I hope you like this video, and I'm gonna be doing something similar in the future. Do let me know if you want to hear about the differences between dancing in London and dancing in Finland or Sweden or Scandinavia in general. But yeah, I see you soon. Bye!